Okay, Susan here with the latest news roundup. Okay, let's begin with world news. Germany announced plans to deliver heavy tanks to Ukraine, and the United States was poised to do so. Spoiler alert, they are. They're not poised anymore, they are. A breakthrough hailed as a decisive military boost by Kyiv and condemned by Moscow as a reckless provocation. And just like everything that's done to help Ukraine, Russia is having a temper tantrum over it because that's all they have. They were hoping to grab what they wanted. They didn't get it, and so they've been having a temper tantrum ever since. But yes, I just listened to Joe Biden, and he is sending 31 Abram tanks. And so he said like one for each platoon. They're not saying this, and they even asked Biden why now. And he just said that they finally got everyone on the same page, the timing's right. But I really wonder. First off, it's Zelensky's birthday, so I'm sure that's why, even though the rumors started yesterday, and the poor State Department and Defense Department spokesman had to be peppered with questions about this rumor, because apparently officials can't keep their fucking mouths shut. I mean, seriously. wait for an announcement. They were going to announce it. Why tell the press early? I don't understand that. But anyway, so they had to say, "Oh, I can't comment from here." So I'm sure the fact that it's Zelensky's birthday had something to do with them waiting till today. But why everybody's willing to give tanks now, they haven't confirmed it, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with those 10 resignations in the Ukrainian government on charges of corruption. So I'm pretty sure that had a lot to do with it. You know, they're cleaning up the corruption in government, so you get the tanks. I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't maybe the overarching reason, but I'm sure that is a reason. Okay, next up, heavy snow blanketed wide swaths of Japan, snarling traffic, forcing hundreds of flight cancellations, disrupting train travel, and leaving at least one person dead. So, I've been hearing about this in Europe lately and now Japan. I wonder if these countries that this is happening to aren't used to snow, because Japan, for what it's worth, it's more than one island. It's a large swath of islands. So I'm sure that depending on which part of Japan, it's possible they're not used to snow. And that's why it's such a headache, because I'm sure if this had hit Wisconsin, it would be a day. It would be a winter day. So I don't know. I don't know how much heavy snow is considered heavy. Let me look that up. Because again, if you're in an area not prepared for this sort of thing, obviously it's going to cause a headache. Let's see. It was also very cold. 124 people died in freezing temperatures. Wait, what? Wait, why are we in China? China's northernmost city dropped to a record minus 53 degrees Celsius. Okay, I think we had 1 week once when I was in college. So this is a long time ago. 20, close to 30 years ago now. Where with wind chill we got that cold. But I don't know if we ever got that cold with straight temperature. So, let's see here. Talk about Japan, damn it. Okay, so Japan reported that snow was particularly heavy on the side of the country facing South Korea, with Manawa hitting a record 93 centimeters, which is 36 inches in just 24 hours. Okay, they have a right to bitch. Oh my god. That is a lot of snow in just 24 hours. Yeah, I'm not saying anything more after that. This isn't an issue of an area that's not used to it. It's just a lot of snow. Yikes. Yeah, all right. I'm moving on now. Indian students said that they would show again a BBC documentary about Prime Minister Narendra Modi that the government has dismissed as propaganda after campus screening was disrupted by a power cut and intimidation by rivals. Again, because nothing says I feel confident in the way I acted than trying to stifle criticism. Because, I mean, what is the big freaking deal? It's a BBC documentary, so it's not a propaganda puff piece. So, yeah. Good on the students. Let's see. Africa must fight against the slide towards strongman authoritarianism. Which, isn't that how they started? I remember Trevor Noah, when Trump became president, doing a shtick comparing him to African presidents. So yeah, I'm were the African strongmans ever out of style in Africa? I'm sure there were plenty of democratic leaders, but let's not get carried away here. I'm going to listen to a South African first. Even if it was on a comedy show, I'm going to listen to the South African. All right. I don't understand this sentence at all, so I'm going to go on. All right, U.S. news. No, we don't need to know about that. Oh, this is going to be quick. Now the reason you're all probably here. Documents marked as classified were discovered at former Vice President Mike Pence's Indiana home last week, and he has turned those classified records over to the FBI. So, yeah, it happened again. And I actually saw a news clip of an interview with Mike Pence, and they asked him point blank if he has any classified documents, which, of course, he's not going to think that he had classified documents, because that either, if he thinks that, that means that he knowingly took them. So obviously he's not going to say, yeah, I took classified documents. I mean, unless he quietly discovered he did and already turned them in. But yeah, that's kind of a gotcha question. I've got to admit that. But I heard that there were 300 documents. How the hell do you miss 300 freaking documents? I mean, these are in folders that have classification markings. To miss 300, I can understand missing a few. But I'm not sure which I'm more mad at. The staff that were putting his stuff away so he could leave the Oval, or the National Archives for not noticing that they're missing this many documents. Ah, I wonder how many of the documents that they're blaming that President Trump took are actually in Vice President Pence's home, and he just didn't realize it. And again, he voluntarily, actually everything was voluntary. After the question, which you could see on his face, he was saying, no, we knew better than that. We were very careful. But you could see it on his face. He's like, shit, I better double check, because it's this isn't unheard of to have all these to accidentally take documents. I better make sure. And so these documents were found and they were returned, because unlike Trump, Pence didn't intend to take these documents, nor did he have a temper tantrum that he somehow is entitled to them because of reasons. Granted, he was just the vice president, but still, he voluntarily he has some sense of right and wrong. I might have a lot of problems with this man, but he does have a strong sense of democracy, and he understands that that this is not right. So yeah, again, not even though Trump did try to throw Pence under a bus by saying Pence did nothing wrong, leave him alone. That's what he wrote in his Truth Social. Now, nobody is saying Pence did anything wrong. Nobody is bothering him. The FBI is searching the house after the documents were turned over to make sure that everything was found. Probably because of the same reason why Biden had to use a different set of lawyers to search his house, because they probably don't have the proper security clearance. But by Trump saying this, I guess he's trying to take the heat off him by making it sound more nefarious than what Pence did. Because, again, no, what part of reality is the FBI is bothering him, or anybody is bothering him? He looked, found documents, and sent them back. But yeah, I'm still curious how the National Archives did not catch all this. I guess they kind of fell into the cracks because they assumed that Trump has these documents. So I wonder how many documents they accused Trump of having that Pence actually accidentally took. Still, not a good look, but at least he's doing the right thing now that they were found. And more on the Biden side of it, I'm hearing that he had classified documents from his days as a senator, which was years ago. So, actually, people in the Obama administration were kind of laughing, kind of chuckling that these are actually not and other late night comedians were joking that these aren't even classified anymore. This is actually not as bad as people are making it out to be, because he has information that's outdated. Still, just the principle of it. He should not have had these documents, and they should not have stayed out of the National Archives for this long without anybody noticing that they're missing. So, you would think that because these are librarians, that they would, have a system where They know what items were taken by whom and make sure that they get them back. A record keeping issue, like obviously public libraries and, well, most libraries have library cards, or um, a ledger, something, anything, because I know that for archives they usually use ledgers because these are archives. You don't stick a library card pocket on them because preservation, but they have ledgers, something, anything. How is this? And this is not new. This isn't something that librarians just started doing. So I don't understand how so many documents are missing. And the National Archives never noticed. Possibly with Biden, they just, gave up and said, okay, that's lost. It's not relevant anyway anymore. But still, it's, I have to agree with Marco Rubio, and that's not a sentence I say very often. Actually, I think this is the first time I said it. What the hell is going on around here? It's just, come on. I know that this exonerates those who've been in government, who say that, oh yeah, this happens all the time. But at the same time, it's just, why? So hopefully now former presidents, like, okay, his former vice president they found documents. Maybe Obama should check his house and make sure he doesn't have anything classified because, yeah, like I said, not a good look. Not a good look at all. All right. And again, I will reiterate, still not the same as Trump because they gave their documents back when they found it. Trump is like, it's mine, 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 and you planted it. And I declassified it. And child. Absolute child. Whereas the others are not. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Speaking of the former president, a Georgia prosecutor investigating Donald Trump's efforts to overturn his defeat in the state's 2020 presidential election told a judge that decisions on whether to bring criminal charges are imminent. Now, I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm glad that it's imminent, but I don't know. I guess I'm pessimistic. I have no I just question at this point if any charges are going to be brought up. I feel like Trump is going to get away with everything he did, which is sad. But this seems to be what is happening. People are worried about Africa backsliding on their democracies. This country is slowly descending into fascism, and I just don't have any confidence that the people who are leading the charge are gonna get punished for it. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But okay, here's a fun one because it concerns George Santos. And if it weren't for the fact that he's in Congress, this would be even more hilarious. Anyway, embattled Republican freshman U.S. Representative George Santos skipped his invitation to a White House reception and appears to have been joined by several hardline newcomers in snubbing President Joe Biden. Okay, I'm pretty sure that it won't be long before he starts claiming he actually went and that people are lying about him again because, he's a pathological liar. And I'm sure that those hardline Republicans, one of the concessions they got out of Kevin McCarthy is to block committee assignments from Democrats. Because I just saw on C SPAN that there was a news conference by Democrats talking about how ridiculous it is that they're being locked out of their committee assignments. I'm sure they see this as some sort of, tit for tat, that because Marjorie Taylor Greene was kicked out of her committee assignments for hanging out with white nationalists, and Paul Gosar was also kicked off. So obviously they see making sure that no Democrat is sitting on committees as the same thing. Speaking of children, all right, let's see what's going on in the markets. So, Microsoft was hit with a network outage that took down its cloud platform Azure, along with services such as Teams and Outlook, potentially affecting millions of users globally. An Azure outage can impact a variety of services and create a domino effect as almost all the world's largest companies use the platform. I know that when I worked at our local food pantry, yeah, we used Azure. And I was the admin. So that's why I know. We used Azure, and yeah, that you wouldn't be able to assign email addresses. So if you get anyone new, you can't do anything to create an email account for them. You can't if you, like they mentioned, if you use Teams, you can't get on the server. So it screws up a lot. Plus, we also, if you use the cloud, the Microsoft Cloud, the OneDrive, you have no access to that. And if you keep most of your documents, especially documents that are traditionally shared amongst colleagues, you don't have access to that. So, oh yeah, that messes up a whole lot of stuff. Let's see here. So, earnings from major European companies offered some reasons for optimism about the region's corporate health, even as investors worry about the slowing global economy. So, I guess that's a yay, because let's face it, we measure the strength of an economy based on like the stock market, which, let's face it, that's corporations. So I guess in that sense, yay, unless you're a part of those corporations or have stock in those corporations, I just don't see why we put so much faith in that showing that the economy is healthy. But I guess if the corporations are doing well, in theory, workers are being paid well, but we know that's not true. We know that's not true. All right, now this actually made me laugh. Speaking of us measuring the health of an economy based on the corporations, and if you're in the US, Wall Street. I don't know what the different world stock exchanges are called, so I'm not going to even try. But a glitch at the New York Stock Exchange prevented the opening auctions for a slew of stocks, prompting widespread trading halts, confusion over whether orders were being filled at correct prices, and trades in more than 250 sectors. Wait, let's try that again. 250 securities being busted. Like I said, if you have investments, and this could adversely affect you, but even if you do, I still find it hilarious. I do. I do not know why, but I still find it funny. Because the people who are going to be most affected are not the ones who have a few bucks in the stock exchange. It's going to be people who have millions. So, yeah. Yeah, somehow, the super rich getting screwed over somehow. Somehow that's funny. I don't know why. All right. Speaking of super rich people being used for entertainment, Tesla chief executive Elon Musk testified that he expected strong financial support when he tweeted that he would take the electric car maker private in 2018, but admitted he lacked specific commitments from potential backers. Now, I know that he never considered himself a businessman, but more of an inventor. But Jesus Christ, you would think that that would be just common sense, that you get concrete commitments before you do anything. I mean, come on. You can't even get a loan in this country without having specific plans. And now Elon is going to think that he can do something with his company without having concrete assurances? The more I learn about Elon, the more I think he's a fucking moron. He just happened to get lucky a couple of times, and let's face it, his father had a diamond mine in South Africa. It's not like he's a rag to riches story. So you can't even say that he pulled himself up by his bootstraps. No. No, that was never needed. So yeah, I think he's just a moron. Either that or his ego is just so big that it pushed out his brain. Which still makes him a fucking moron. Now, this one surprised me. Rupert Murdoch withdrew a proposal to reunite News Corp and Fox Corp as the company is also exploring a sale of Move, never heard of that, which operates the Realtor.com website. I didn't know that that was part of Rupert Murdoch's empire. Okay, which operates the Realtor.com website to CoStar Group. Several top shareholders have publicly said they opposed the proposed Fox News Corp combination. Now, I didn't even know that those were separate entities. I thought they were still one entity. So, yeah, that was a surprise to me. I didn't know he also owned Realtor.com. And so yeah, that was eye-opening. I honestly thought they were Fox News and News Corp were still one entity. Never knew that they broke up. You wouldn't know it by the way Fox is acting. Anyway, let's see if there's anything else. I believe that is all I have for this bulletin. Let me see if there's anything I'm missing. I don't believe so. I think I covered everything, but again, if there was a news story that either I mentioned that you want me to go even more in depth on, or if there's a news story that I didn't cover, let me know in the comments and I will happily do a video about it, provided I understand it. Obviously, I'm not going to do a lengthy video on a topic that I just have no concept of. That would just be silly. I'm not going to even attempt to do that. So, with that, I will see you guys tomorrow.